Should we worry about the housing market in Canada? Should we think that things could get way off? I don't know. We had a big run up in bond yields this week. Big. And that means big rate increases for fixed mortgage rates. So that depresses the housing market. But will it create breakage? When we talk about breakage, we talk about really unexpected, odd things, difficulties, people not paying, people having to sell things, people not being able to complete closings, people with problems multiplying to the point where it affects the whole marketplace. Now, really important, that isn't happening right now. The default rate for mortgages in Canada is still extraordinarily low. Last time we looked for major bank defaults, around 16 basis points, 15, 16 basis points, very tiny. Compared with all over the world, that's a very, very good result for 90-day default. Creeping up with some of the alternative lenders, definitely creeping up. Has the real estate market slowed? Yeah, in some major regions, like in British Columbia, slowing down, and Ontario, definitely slowing down in Ontario. Calgary, not so bad, but this high rate environment wears the market out, just does. Now, I have a story to tell. I have a story to tell that's interesting, but I want to really coach it by saying it may not be a reflection of stuff that's going to happen a lot. Like, I don't know yet. Like, we've heard of a few of these. Now I'm looking at one that's very specific. It's sort of wild, but it may just be one of. Like, a smart realtor said to me the other day, like, sometimes when you talk about things that are going wrong, you don't talk about the other, you talk about one thing, you don't talk about the 300 things that just closed fine. So let's talk about the story of the 11 pre-construction condos. Now, this is a file that we have direct knowledge of, but I've got to change a couple of the details because it's not fair to the people who came to us looking for a solution that we simply couldn't provide and nobody else could provide. So the pre-construction condo, this is a marketplace where people buy suites and condo towers 5-6 years prior to the building being finished. And these folks bought about 5 years ago various locations, 7 different projects, total of 11 condos. So some of them have ones and some of them they bought twos. There's no big concentration in any one condo. That's not the case here. For a couple of reasons. One of them straightforward. One, big income was lost to job reduction. That's the kind of a job like you just don't walk into the next job. It's that kind of a job. You got to search for a while. Big income and a job loss. Some other reasons that are not technical, but just not really appropriate to discuss. As these properties are coming due, and one just was required to close, couldn't. The others over the next 14 to 16 months will all need to close. They can't do it. They have $1.14 million worth of deposits out there on this real estate. And even though some of the pricing issues are not that bad, and they bought a while back, they still can't close. They just have no means to close. No one will give them a mortgage, and they don't have enough cash to close. Not even anywhere near enough cash to close on one. They can't get a mortgage because of their situation. They can't get more cash from anyone. They couldn't sell by assignment because that market is just kind of seized up right now. Like, there's some situations it probably works, but mostly selling condos by assignment right now is very, very, very quiet. Anyway, they tried, they couldn't do it. Even though they're not really in a position where the condos are worth radically less than they are today, there's just no interest in the marketplace, and they can't close because of their situation. They can't raise mortgage funds. And they will not, in their own opinion, be able to raise mortgage funds because this situation, which they know is real, will drive them, and they have already contacted them, drive them to a bankruptcy trustee because they can't have all these lawsuits coming at them. Okay, they just can't. So that's one situation. It's unusual. It's unusually bad. It might be the record that we've looked at in detail, 11 units, but it's real. And does it represent something we're going to see a lot more of? I doubt it. There's really not that many people that go on a buying spree and grab up 11 units in the course of, 10 or 11 months. That just doesn't really happen much. It's just some people say, oh yeah, it does, Ron. No, not really. I don't really think it happens every day. But it is indicative of something. It's indicative of the fact that things can go wrong, people can't close, and there can be some cascade effects from that. Although doubtful in this case, because the builders can just take possession, repossess the properties and resell them to the general public. The developers can do that. The only thing is, if that starts to happen a lot, if it happens a lot, that's a problem. Not saying it is, just observing an unusual, problematic situation that may repeat itself. May not, but may repeat itself.